don't really like KFC.
I like their chicken pot pies.
It's good,
Oh yeah, I can't eat them. It's just so fattening, but I love them.
but you do eat them.
And once in a while, I haven't had one in quite several months.
I feel like this. I'm glad this thing kicked off with a little bit of food talk because I think this could be an iconic moment.
I think people will be surprised to know that Ned likes KFC chicken pot pies.
Yeah,
Right.
I do.
I think that's going to be the most shocking moment of this whole thing.
Why, you ever have one?
No, I haven't. I haven't eaten KFC in 3 years,
Well,
probably.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Once
Ever
in a while
since
when
that
you-
big sandwich made out of all chicken. Yeah, it was terrible. It made me sick for
Yeah,
like
what
3
was
days.
that?
It was
Was it
awful.
fun?
Well, when the grandkids come once in a while, if my restaurant's closed, I give them a bucket of fried chicken. They get all excited.
Their fried chicken rocks. I mean, you can't say anything about their
But
regular fried
Popeyes is
chicken.
better.
We don't have a Popeyes, do
I
we?
believe there's a deal where, like, I heard one time, I don't know how true it is, that where there's KFC, there can be a Popeye. It's a
Wow.
deal they have with each other.
That's a terrible deal.
There used to be a deal like that in North Carolina, like with Publix and what's that chain in North Carolina?
Ingalls.
Ingles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
And they have Hen House and Whole Foods in Kansas.
What did we have? We had
They have Publix in
Captain.
Kansas too.
What did we have? We had some kind of seafood place out there by Sonny's or
Captain
Boner.
Jack's.
Captain
Or
Jack's.
Captain Jack's or Captain D's.
Long John Silver's?
Long John.
That was on San Marco. You guys remember that?
No, there was
I
on
do.
US 1.
Yes.
No, I'm thinking of Arthur Treacher's
Yeah.
Fish and Chips. You guys were like very young.
Yeah, I don't remember.
It was
that at
good.
all. Yeah.
What was that, a mom and pop place? Or a
No,
chain?
no, it was a chain.
Is that down there by Shivers Barbecue?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I've never heard of Arthur Treacher's.
It was good. The guy who owns what's that place called? Right over the bridge on King Street. People have breakfast there. His name's Steve. I
Oh,
know.
wait a second. It's on King Street, or is
It's
it
on King
more
Street
closer
next to the pawn shop.
It's on King
Can you
Street
smoke
next to the-
cigars in here?
Yeah.
Fire it up, man.
Smoke your cigar.
You got an ashtray?
I'll get you something.
So, I appreciate all this hot fried chicken talk. However, I want to talk about something else. The St. Augustine hot dog.
The St. Augustine hot dog?
Right here and now, it could be decided.
Well, I'm thinking you got to have daddle relish and daddle mustard.
And that's it?
Well, I was going to put coleslaw, a little coleslaw on it, which I've never had before. Recently, I've been putting it on my hot dog.
You feel like that'd be amazing?
It'd be good.
Okay.
I love hot dogs. Hot dogs are like my favorite food.
Is that something you would actually consider putting on the menu as the St. Augustine hot dog?
I could, yeah. Yeah.
Another interesting thing, I found there's a heart-healthy bit of menu to the Ned's Southside Kitchen.
Yeah.
Now, 2 months ago, I brought up having a heart-healthy section.
We do. We have our own menu.
Yeah, you never told me that, though. I never knew it.
I didn't know you had a bad heart.
I don't.
Yeah.
We have a healthy
But
menu.
you have exactly what I
Well, we have that gluten-free menu.
what I suggested to you.
Yeah,
You
but
have
gluten-
exactly the same thing, but I didn't know it.
No.
And you didn't tell me. I thought it was funny.
I was just talking to somebody actually who said she had just watched a documentary about the whole gluten-free thing
Mm.
and how notoriously disproven it's been.
It's trendy horse shit for the most part, but there are people with celiac disease.
Yeah, celiac disease. Is like,
Yeah, which is more rare than people say. Like a table full of, goofballs from the suburbs wearing North Face who just all pulled up in matching Range Rovers aren't all gluten-free. Like, don't tell me your whole family has a severe gluten intolerance.
Right.
You know?
We tried it with Alec for a while, and Will. When Will was a baby.
And nothing changed.
No, I don't think so. The only thing changes is we didn't keep up with it.
Apparently it has something to do with most of the way most bread is made. It's made with a certain ingredient that people can have an intolerance for. And in most people, I'm willing to bet it's like a slight chemical imbalance where maybe their mood is a little different. But I also think that has a lot to do with like regulating your carbs and how hydrated you are. Half the time I just say nobody drinks enough water, and that's why they have most of the problems they have.
Well, there's validity to a lot of those diets and theories. You know, I had a girlfriend years ago. She was hypoglycemic, and I'll tell you what, we used to make these creme brulee pies or something at one of my restaurants, and when I saw her licking the bowl, I go, man, I'm fucked for the day. Boy, man, she's going to be way out there, you know?
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that I'd be fucked for the day in another way. I wouldn't be able to think about anything else.
Yeah.
But you're saying it affected the way she.
Yeah, it affected.
Like so, it's like being drunk, right?
Yeah, well, she was like manic, you know. And she's a very nice woman.
What did we decide?
You
on the
dated
same-
this woman?
Huh?
She worked for you? Or you dated?
Years ago.
What year
Yeah.
would you say?
What year? Probably 1979, 80. Well, you weren't even born.
I was -9.
Yeah. Peter, what year were you born?
84.
And you?
I'm an old man.
75.
75. I opened my first restaurant.
Ciccolini's,
Ciccolini's. Yeah.
the Pasta Palace. That picture from Ciccolini's is pretty epic. Who did that? How did it naturally get so cool?
The guy's name is Brian. And he's still around. He plays poker with Tom Miklovich. They have a weekly poker game up there in Athens.
This is where the Ciccolini's picture would flash behind it.
Yeah.
Oh, we have B-roll of that we can run.
That was just like, I love that picture. I remember that day so well. Yeah.
The first day of Ciccolini's.
Well, it wasn't the first day. We were open for a little bit.
So you did like a soft opening, where like.
Call it that. I mean.
Right, you guys really had it together back then, huh?
Yeah.
Were you excited about it? Were you like frustrated at all the work you've had to put in to get it to where it was? Were you
Well,
just
first-
ready to open and get it over
Well,
with?
first of all, we took over a place that like the lady who ran it ran off with like a bus driver, and like, you know, so for months no one ever like cleaned the place. So then food and all, you know, so all the food was there.
that
you
was
know.
on you guys to clean up and
Well, we cleaned it up.
restock and
Yeah,
And it was rotting.
it was nuts. You know, my two partners, one guy as soon as I would leave, he'd be selling little bags of pot, or he'd be fencing TVs or whatever he'd get. You know, there was upstairs. There was like a little shooting gallery. Like it was crazy.
So these guys were unfit to be in a restaurant, basically. But you had them as partners. Now
That's why you asked me, was I excited?
yeah.
I wanted to leave as soon as I realized that like my money was there. I wanted to like go back to wherever the hell I was. I think it was in Connecticut before I was there. You know, I briefly stayed there.
So you were kind of thinking, holy shit,
Holy shit, look at
might
these
not
guys.
work
One
out.
guy, and one of them was my best friend growing up, you know. But like he would eat like literally a third pan of like meatballs, like a record amount of chicken Parmesan subs, and like usually a case of Dr. Pepper a day.
So you
And
guys were
that's
probably,
all he did.
You were probably losing money just on him alone, just on his diet.
That's all he did.
Did you ever freak out on these guys?
Oh, I was miserable. Yeah.
Because you're on a pretty tight ship these days. It strikes me as odd as you.
Well, I was 25 years old. It was my first business.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
that probably had a lot to do with it too, being 25. I'm worried you're going to burn halfway through the cigar. Those candles are creeping up on you.
Yeah. So yeah, that was crazy.
Did you guys come to a consensus on the St. Augustine hot dog?
We talked about
He
it.
did.
All we
Were you
really
stated
agreed on.
officially, Ned?
Huh?
Were you stated officially now that Herschel's back?
I missed it.
Well, it's a work in progress, but right now we're saying daddle relish, daddle mustard, and coleslaw,
Daddle mustard.
and a good all beef hot dog.
You know what I used to do is I'd
Kosher.
put one piece of slice of American cheese on it with daddle mustard, or maybe it was regular mustard and daddle sauce.
Right.
But daddle has to have something to do with it. You can't have the Menorcan influence like you have around.
Well, Hazel's has a good that hot dog they have.
I'm sure. Well, all their hot dogs are good.
Yeah.
Ned, what's your favorite hot dog
You mean look
of all time?
I used to have like just a hot dog with sauerkraut and mustard. You know, in New York,
Mine's
you know, in New York, in those little, we used to call them the umbrella room, those little stands, soubrettes.
I like daddle mustard, and a piece of American fucking cheese.
I love a Chicago dog.
Chicago dog, you told me about
Yeah.
for the first time.
Love a Chicago dog. I was just in Chicago with your brothers. Went
Yeah.
to a local place, had an amazing dog.
What's the
Daniel-
difference between a Chicago dog and a... Because I didn't try one when I was in Chicago.
Before Ned corrects me, I'll try to tell you what I think's on it.
Yeah.
Green relish, like super neon weird green relish, onions, a pickle, like a whole slice of pickle,
Okay.
a couple slices of tomatoes, celery salt, a nice Frank, a Kaiser bun, I think.
You mean not
um,
just your old fluffy?
Yeah, right. It's got seeds on it. Oh, and pickled peppers.
Wow.
And you only put mustard on it. You don't put ketchup.
Is that an official Chicago dog? I didn't know that.
Absolutely, it's really famous. Yeah, every
Yeah.
time I go there, I get it. Yeah.
You know how? I don't know if you guys know that guy Jeff. You grew up with his kids, Jeff and Jen. He used to have those little burrito places all over town.
I don't think so.
You know his kids. I can't think of his name.
You can't think of his last name?
No. I know Jen is the parts manager at Honda now, his ex-wife. But anyway, his father was really big in Chicago dogs.
What were you talking about earlier, Jesse? You said you and Ned got into a political discussion.
Oh, I had a beer in me. I was just slightly buzzed. Not even barely buzzed. Just feeling pretty good. Feeling a little bit bubbly, with it. And I think I brought up Alex Jones.
Yeah.
And Ned made a decent point. He said he reminded him of
He reminded me
Abby
of
Hoffman.
Yeah, and Jerry Rubin.
Like these kind of radical leftists from, the 60s?
Yeah. When I was in college, they were around. Yeah.
What's the comparison? They were just loud and
Well, they were just extreme and ridiculous, They were the, what would they call themselves? Yippies? They were part of the Chicago 7.
Was that the Merry Pranksters? Or was that Ken
No,
Kesey?
that was Ken Kesey. They were first.
That was first.
Yeah. I don't think they were political at all. Yeah.
Have you watched much of Alex Jones?
I
Have you
watched
seen
him
a whole
once
lot
or
of-
twice, and I got a kick out of him, but but he was with that other guy.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I just enjoyed the venue of like what you're doing, but I think he's ridiculous, which is what he wants to be. That's what sells whatever it is he does.
Yeah, it's selling him. It's got him,
Yeah.
the audience that he brags about all the time.
Yeah.
I saw a guy today. I was driving your motorcycle, your moped, motor scooter, whatever it is, and a guy in front of me just had all this right wing stuff, like Alex Jones, Infowars, don't believe the lies, and all this shit.
Yeah.
I thought it was totally awesome.
Well, Jesse, you were saying that he presents himself in a ridiculous way,
He's an
but
entertainer.
70% of the stuff he says is sort of. It sounds
There's a lot
far-fetched,
of truth to what he
especially
says.
when you think of the
Absolutely.
way he delivers it.
Absolutely.
It sounds like.
Well, you want to believe that.
Well, I mean, yeah, I do. But I, also, I do want to believe that. But
You want to believe the world's totally fucked up. There's nothing
Well,
we can do
we
about
all
it.
could agree on that.
That ain't
Yeah.
hard to believe.
It's even getting more fucked up. Whatever,
I think most people get an impression from MSM, as he puts it, the mainstream media, of how things are. You listen to a guy
Right.
like him, and it slaps them right in the face and says, "Well, maybe, but here's another perspective." And I
Right.
can really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll have to look into him for myself because I don't really take a strong stance on how I feel. I just see him from the outside right now, which is what highlights I've seen of him.
I think he's totally
screaming
insane. Yeah, for
and
sure.
being outrageous, but I'm sure he's.
Well, Rush
he makes
Limbaugh
it
was
work.
funny years ago.
Was he?
I got a kick out of him. I didn't, agree with almost everything he said, but he was funny, But now he's he's pathetic.
Well, Alex Jones is kind of this generation's Rush Limbaugh.
Yeah.
I feel like he's the loud guy on the right. He's got the audience. He's
Yeah.
he's the guy that everybody in the news is talking about.
He's
Because
on
the president,
he's on
Donald
the right
Trump,
though, but he
Mhm.
hated
Right.
Bush. He
Mhm.
hated Bush.
right? Yeah.
He's just about Trump and freedom and liberty, according to him, And he likes Trump's an outsider. That's what he likes. He hated Bush. So to say he's the right is not. I mean, he is actually now, but yeah.
Well, Bush, and he was. I think his point is kind of Bush's establishment, right? Bush is an
He's
establishment
anti-establishment.
guy.
That's exactly.
Like he's not a
Well,
huge
like
John
Trump's
Mc.
not.
Well,
Yeah.
he used his own money. I mean, $1 billion of his own dollars to fund his campaign. I mean, that's pretty anti-establishment, I think.
Yeah, don't kid yourself. He's making a shitload back.
He's taking $1
Huh?
for every 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
right.
a salary.
But all the deals he's making with everybody in his hotels all over the
See,
fucking
this is
place.
spin right here, man.
Huh? No, I
Too
mean,
much CNN.
I don't care about CNN or Fox. To me,
Yeah, Fox is bullshit too, for sure.
it's
Alex
like
Jones is
the
man
whole
tonight.
reality of America right now is that's their only perception of life is Fox or CNN.
What's that mic?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man. It's a crazy soap opera.
I mean, I had CNN on before we left the house. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, it's
What were
just
they saying?
absurd. It didn't matter,
Right.
And Fox is just as dumb from the other direction,
Yeah, it just makes people conform to two basic identities.
Yeah, which
really
the world is far more. The universe is
The
a
good
lot more
news,
complex.
much more diverse than that.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
exactly it. And
I mean,
I think that's why it's great to have conversations like this and
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
like Alex Jones and whoever online present this
Right.
different thing.
Yeah, the internet has transformed the way
Yeah.
we communicate.
It's never
for
going to
sure.
go back.
No, we all are. Everybody's linked into this one big stream of consciousness, and you can sort of sift through the bullshit and pull out what's real if you focus. If
You know
pay
that guy
attention.
on CNN's Fareed something?
Fareed Zakaria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He always starts to show it. Here's my take. I thought, I want to do that. Here's my take. We're fucked. We are so fucked. You have no idea.
But are we more fucked now than we ever were?
I think so.
You keep saying we're at a moot point. Do you consider that true now, or have we ceased to be at a moot point and we are now fucked?
What does that mean?
You always say that civilization is at a moot point.
Well, it changes. So there's a major change.
Moot, as in it doesn't matter?
I don't know what moot means.
Well, let's fuck it then. So we're fucked.
We're
More
fucked. I mean,
so than ever.
the pragmatism is left. Pragmatism in school. I don't think the court system ever had pragmatism. Our government is totally dysfunctional. It's ridiculous. These clowns, they live in an insulated little bubble. The whole bunch of them. And they kind of bounce off each other.
How are we any more fucked now than we were 2 years ago, 4 years ago? I mean,
Because
does that have something, in your opinion, to do with the Trump
It's a
presidency?
historic thing. No.
Okay.
Trump's part of the recipe for being fucked.
How so, though? He's anti-establishment. I mean,
Well, he's
Hillary.
He's accelerating the disruption.
He's a what?
He's accelerating the disruption of things.
I don't think so.
And
I think he's bringing sanity back because Hillary was totally insane, in my opinion.
Oh, Hillary would have been fucked too because they wouldn't let up on her, until they threw her in jail.
But
Yeah.
it's not them. I mean, you saw what was released, her emails and that. I mean, literally, she colluded against Bernie Sanders. Some real shit that they had against
They
her.
all do that.
It
colluded-
does seem like
Okay,
something they all do.
maybe
Yeah.
they do, but she was one exposed for it.
Well, that's where Putin comes in. He's having a blast.
Yeah.
He's literally having a blast. I mean, everything that's getting chaotic, he's sitting there having the show of his life.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
I remember going to your house, and it was during the debates. Hillary and Trump were debating, and Ned was angrily sweeping something in the kitchen, and everything they were saying was just either in Hillary's side was just incredibly scripted, and Trump was just yammering on about whatever piffle he was currently.
I always wanted to see a politician just wing it. Except I don't agree with a lot of his policies, but it's enjoyable to see somebody just fucking winging it.
All these revelations he comes up with, and people are shocked that he would say shit. Generally, they tend to be accurate.
Yeah. Well,
Eventually, most of the shit he says will come true.
I think he's
know?
exposing
I've
a lot of holes in government.
Absolutely.
Just by the way people are reacting to him, by the way he is reacting to.
He knows what he's doing.
I'm not sure he completely knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing in business. He's a great businessman. I
I
will
think it's a
give him
great
that.
idea, more than people give him credit for.
Yeah,
I'm sure
no,
that-
I don't think he's as dumb as people say he is.
Of course he's not.
But I
He
think
became
I
president.
think he's doing a great job, whether he's trying to or not, at exposing holes and corruption and flaws in the
That's a great point.
federal government.
Yeah.
He's just another flaw. I mean, somebody has to be another flaw. Why not Trump?
Right. And
He's funny.
he is funny, and he's got a lot of charisma. If you're funny and you got charisma, you can get away with a lot of shit. I mean, I think he's basically just a salesman by nature.
He is.
He's-
He could be selling what do you call them? Reverse mortgages.
Right.
The thing is, you go back to the 80s and watch him on Oprah talk about the same politics he's talking about today, and you realize he's not just a guy who, 3 years ago decided to run for president. This dude's been thinking about this a long time. He finally ended up doing it because he thought, I don't know why he ended up doing it, but he's
Right.
always been on this train, so he's not an idiot.
He's been teasing it
He's
for
a
the past
political
few
animal.
elections, though. He's been
Has he
teasing
been?
it.
Yeah, he
Has
mentioned.
it
I even remember him in previous elections, causing a stir about it briefly. But
He caused a lot of weird stirs.
I think it had something to do with timing, like the way things are becoming disrupted already with the collusion of.
Well, people can't stand politicians now whatsoever.
collusion.
People get all their information on the internet.
The only collusion
Yeah.
was Hillary and the DNC versus Bernie. There's no collusion between Trump and Russia.
Well, I don't think there
That's
is
been
either.
proven.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll agree
and I don't know why they're
with you.
going on.
But now
and
it's
on
been
about it.
proven. Well, because they're trying to delegitimize his presidency,
And-
period.
Well, he
Look,
could
if
be.
they-
They don't need to go there to do that.
Listen, if they want him out, I'm down with that, right?
Yeah.
Vote him out in 3 years or whatever. but don't normalize violence against him. Don't.
Well, nobody's doing that
Oh,
except
shit,
one
they
wacko.
are. Yeah, everybody is, dude.
Well, the fundamentalist
It's
in
huge.
any
Pete, what do you
marginalized-
think,
Do you
man?
have any opinion except for what's on Fox News?
I don't watch that much Fox. I watch Alex Jones predominantly.
Yeah. I mean, is that your only
Okay.
grasp on reality of this universe?
Well, maybe right now. Maybe it's a stage. We'll see in 2 years to see if I come out of it. But look. The New York Public Theater?
Yeah.
Okay. Had a production of Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
They dressed the main guy, Julius Caesar, up as Trump with a red tie, blonde hair, with the same kind of wife. And the women and the minorities murdered him at the end of it. You have that other actress from Pulp Fiction holding his head up.
Kathy Griffin.
Yeah, she had a small role in Pulp Fiction.
There's a lot of that going on. I didn't see that. I mean, there was a little bit of that with Obama, but Trump, it's like, let's do this because he's such a horrible guy. They're absolutely normalizing violence against the dude.
No, there was so much threatened violence against Obama.
Yeah.
Whether you
Was
like
there?
him or fuck yeah.
Okay, well maybe I wasn't politically aware. I, mean,
Right.
I remember somebody
Well, maybe they didn't play
dressed
up.
a clown up, as him.
Oh, they
in
showed
the
pictures
rodeo.
of his wife as a gorilla. I mean, it was it's no different.
But it wasn't the mainstream media though.
Huh? Well, the
Normalizing
mainstream
shit.
media's not doing this.
I don't notice them doing this.
Yeah.
My thing is, I think every
They're going
group-
along with it, dude. You're right though. It is depending on who's in office. Like
Yeah,
they're
they
going to
do.
back up or.
I mean, they hated Hillary. They hated Obama. Clinton actually was kind of well liked. He'd argue with these motherfuckers that try to impeach him and then play golf with him.
And they
So-
impeached him. Hirsch, you're 28, right?
I'm 28.
No, Ned, when you were 28, if you guys would have met in the street, who do you think wins in that fight?
Probably me.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I
Why are you
don't-
laughing, Hirsch, young buck?
Well, because
Yeah.
Ned at 20. Here's the thing: if I wasn't so obsessed with perfecting every exercise I've ever done in movement, which now largely revolves around boxing, I wouldn't. If I was just a guy like Ned who was just working all the time and a crazy alcoholic drug addict, I would take Ned over me because you had more of that. There was more grit, but not really. Honestly, at this age, I've been in plenty of street fights as an adult. Yeah, I've been in enough to where it's, and as well as, and I also practice the science of it. So it's like
You both feel like
it became an
you both
obsession.
win.
Well, it became an obsession of mine through you
Yeah.
because you always kind of instilled that physicality.
Well, Ned, you
in
were a
me.
wrestler, right?
Yeah. Wrestlers always beat boxers.
There's no evidence to support that. I'm not a boxer, so I don't give a shit. But there's definitely
Once
no
you get
evidence.
hold of them.
That's it.
But see, you got to realize I'm good at wrestling too, motherfucker. That's what you taught me before I learned anything. You taught me how to wrestle, and I actually would have, because a lot of my good friends in high school were on the wrestling team, and I would practice with them, and it was always a good time. But I never.
I always regretted you not wrestling.
I picked another sport.
You're state champion.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
Just,
There is a great story, Herschel, when you were 18, and I've heard it a couple times. I don't know that I've heard Ned talk about it, but you guys actually got into a fist fight in the front yard.
yeah.
And at one point, Ned, your glasses fall off, and you had to pause the fight to get your glasses back on.
I remember all his friends were waiting.
Yeah, they were coming to pick me up for a party, and you had just hit me, and I flew out into the front yard.
Yeah.
And like we start fighting, and you drop your glasses, and they actually witnessed me, my dad dropping his glasses, me pausing the fist fight, waiting for my father to put his glasses back on, and then watched you say, "All right, motherfucker," and then keep walking at me. And at that point in time, I kind of caught a weird glance from one of my friends, like they had never really seen that. And that was like Tuesday for us. I remember the week before that, I stubbed my back on a dresser or something because I was playing with the dog, and I got mad and kicked something. And his way of dealing with that was, "Oh, you think you're tough?" And then he'd attack me. So we had just got into it in the bedroom, like rumbling around, throwing shit. And then I think we went to get Chinese food immediately after. I don't think neither one of us gave a shit, which was the same scenario.
So the
in
battle
front
cry
yard.
was, you
I
think
wasn't.
you're-
I
you
really
think
was.
you're tough.
I wasn't that tough. I mean, I
Is that
was
the battle
tough,
cry?
tough enough. I mean,
Well, I knew not to fuck with. I never would fuck with him on purpose. It's just that's what he would do. And I was probably a dick. I was
You were.
17, 18. And so I was probably being somewhat of a smart ass. And I know that if I had a smart ass son who reminded me of me, I'd probably want to slap him.
You
too.
don't remember what you were doing that led up to the
I kicked
altercation?
I kicked the door into my truck because I locked the keys in my truck.
Look what he did to the house on Seashore.
And mom,
the holes in the walls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mom was calling me repeatedly, and it was right around I was like 17, just starting to break loose of the household, being under Mom's roof specifically, which was a roof that you had to be under at 10:30 every night, despite the fact that I was a senior in high school, and everybody else I knew was staying out till like 2 in the morning at least. So she was just calling me over and over again. So I'm looking at my phone ringing on the front seat repeatedly, and my keys are locked in, and the truck was running to make things even worse. And you were on your way home. I'm sure whatever I had going on in my life, period, I'm sure it wasn't together or organized. So I was probably pretty stressed on top of that. And I think I was dating my first girlfriend at the time, Jordan, who I was obsessed with, and probably didn't have my phone to call her every 3 minutes, like I'm sure I was also trying to do.
Couldn't wait for you to break up. Not because of her, because of you. You were so obsessed.
That's nice, Dad. And so I finally got pissed off and kicked my door, and the window broke. And you came home, and your response to that was to fight me.
Well, did he buy the truck? Or did
No,
you
I
buy
bought
the truck? Oh, so it was your truck.
Yeah, it was actually the truck when my 14th or 15th birthday present, which was from you, which was a job. I saved up for 2 years, and with the money I saved bussing tables at Gypsy, I bought that truck for $5,000.
You saved money? Really?
Well, I didn't have to pay rent at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, it was your idea, and I'm glad you made me do that. There were times I'm sure I didn't want to be bussing tables.
That was the last money he saved.
Fucking guy, what's an I-9? So anyway, yeah, I kicked the window open, and we were getting into it. But then we got over it, and I'm sure we both didn't really care too much after that. But I got in the truck, and my buddy who came to pick me up was just frozen. I'm like sweating. My shirt's ripped. And I get in the truck, and I'm like, are you ready to go? And he like couldn't talk.
Yeah. Why?
Because he'd never been in a fight with his dad. But it's an endearing moment, I'd say, all in all. There's more water, too, if you need another one in there, Dad.
You guys have everything like a Johnny Carson show. Ed McMahon. Yeah. Remember when Kramer and Seinfeld? That's my favorite Seinfeld.
With the Johnny Carson set?
Yeah.
Set it up in his living room?
I loved it.
He interviewed all his friends that came through the house.
And then they had to change the format to make it more like, one of those kind of shock shows.
Kramer had to change his own format of his living room.
Yeah.
Of his living room
Newman
interview
was in
show.
on it?
Yeah, him and Newman, and that's when Jerry was giving his girlfriend tryptophan so he could play with her toys.
Because what
It was
what were the toys? They were,
Oh,
did
yeah,
she have,
and
like,
it was
Superman?
exposed on the Kramer show.
Yeah.
That's right.
Was it Newman giving his girlfriend that, or George? Because wasn't George
No, it was
obsessed?
Jerry.
George was
Jerry.
obsessed with Jerry.
Because Jerry was obsessed with Superman and toys and all
Yeah.
that.
I thought it
She
was
had
George.
some G.I. Joes or something, didn't she?
Yeah.
That he wanted to
Yeah.
play with, that she wouldn't let him.
I missed that show. I mean, you can still find every episode on Hulu. Well, you're a big fan of Curb, aren't you?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Something if it's like this is where you have these dream hang scenarios, like who two people you could get to hang out. There's two people I would want you to hang out with. One is Jack Nicholson, and the other is Larry David.
Why?
Larry David, because you two are so much alike that it's.
I'm not that neurotic. Okay?
You're not that neurotic, but you two just have the same frame of reference. You're around the same.
I mean, that
age,
guy, with everybody, causes so much trouble,
which is what I love about him. And Jack Nicholson, just because I feel like
I saw him in some old westerns recently.
Really.
Yeah.
Just because I feel like
Before
any story that guy could tell is going to be a good one.
You don't think him and Bill Murray would get along?
Who?
You and Bill Murray wouldn't get along?
I get along because I really love the guy, even though we had a little run-in one time,
That's a story worth telling.
Yeah.
Yeah, what happened
Yeah,
there?
Well, he came to the
Because
Gypsy.
I heard an overinflated story.
Oh, it got
Right.
so
My
exaggerated.
version of the story was that Ned was just pissed. He punched him in the face and threw him out the front door. But
nothing
none of
like
that
that.
happened.
No, that would have
No.
been on the People magazine or something.
No, he. It all had to do with this waitress that was mad that she didn't get to wait on him, Tammy, and but so she called her father and stepmother in anyway. So they got the back room to themselves. All his brothers. They were opening Bill Murray place.
That
That
was
rest-
just around the Caddyshack.
Yeah, it was kind of right
That
when
was
they
the
were
restaurant,
opening. Yeah,
Caddyshack.
and they just like sat there in the same room and just stared at him. And they had a nice meal. I never like to bother people that are famous. It's kind of you just feed them, and they had a nice meal.
Yeah.
A lot of them had the sausage, and
What song?
but anyway, Tammy got into a fight with Pat. And just kept fighting with him, and then Pat comes in to tell me she said she quit. I said, well, then write her off the schedule. I'm in the kitchen cooking and expediting. So write her off the schedule. It's as simple as that. So then, like, when it's all over, they were like the last to leave. So I wanted to tell Bill Murray what a fan I am. I was an incredible fan. I still am. And he goes, but all of a sudden I see him coming. I didn't realize he was that tall. He goes, "Where's Ned? Where's Ned?"
He's tall.
Yeah.
He's like 6'4", I think.
He starts.
Are you serious?
Yeah. He starts lecturing me that I fired Tammy. I said, I didn't fire Tammy. She said she quit. We took her off the schedule. And he starts lecturing me.
What was he saying?
I can't remember. He was just lecturing me. It reminded me of that movie he was in. Where he was yelling at the French pimp Coco. I felt like I was Coco being yelled at.
I love that you're getting yelled at by Bill Murray, and you're still like fantasizing about being in one of his movies.
Yeah, that's all I can think about was that
Simultaneously,
movie, And that's as far as it went. Tammy went to work for them for a while, and she came back to the restaurant.
See, I had heard he met her in the parking lot. He said, "What's going? How you doing, sweetie?"
Well, she was crying.
What's wrong? And then he got her the job back. That's what I heard. Is that not true?
Well, she could have had the job back if she wanted, but she went to work for him.
Oh, she immediately.
I think so, yeah. I mean, it was so many years ago. But, she came back to work, She just had a fight with Pat.
I would love to meet Bill Murray.
Yeah. But that's as complicated as it got. I mean, the stories were unbelievable.
What's the best one you've heard?
Well, that one you just said, I never heard that I punched him,
No, the rumor going around, which I probably started at that time,
Yeah.
was
Probably.
that you said, "Hey, I don't tell you how to act. Don't tell me how to run my business."
I didn't say anything like that. All I did was compliment the guy, and I didn't fire Tammy.
I'm pretty sure I
I
started.
said
that
she
rumor.
quit. It's funny how Pat just rolled the whole thing over to me,
He said he did that actually when I interviewed him.
Yeah.
Did he point to you and he was like, "Ned's over there. Go
Yeah.
get him."
Actually, in the interview, he said he was like, right when you two started, Bill Murray started on you. Pat was like, "Hey, I gotta go next door," and like went next, just like left you getting yelled at by Bill Murray.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I don't regret any of it, and I didn't even feel embarrassed. I mean, it was just kind of neat, because I liked the guy so much.
Right. Right. Didn't one guy yell at you so much in the parking lot you just finally, the only customer you've really ever, because I know you don't like.
Well, what
getting
happened? I
into it.
blocked him in for a second when I was running the place on Dixie Highway here.
Yeah.
So I blocked him in, and he was kind of like a rageaholic and just screaming at me. Don't ever block me in, you motherfucker. He just don't block me in. I'll never be back here. And I kept saying to him, "You'll never be back?" And every time I said it to him, it got him going again. Oh, and again. I must have done it 3 or 4 times. I said, "So you'll never be back?" He goes, "No, never be back." I said, "Then get the fuck out of here, you motherfucker." Yeah.
Did he leave?
Or was
Yeah,
he still
happily,
blocked?
yeah. Huh?
Or was he
He's still
blocking
blocking
you?
right now.
Yeah.
It was 12 years
You're like,
ago.
"Get out of here, motherfucker! Your car is still blocking him in."
Yeah. Yeah.
Then there was Tom Petty, who came in the restaurant.
Yeah. Well, I didn't bother him at all.
He used to
No,
live
you
around
didn't
the
bother
corner
him.
from where you and
That's
I
kind
are,
of cool.
Pete.
Yeah.
He had a Buy American sticker on his house.
Yeah.
Really?
I would get stoned, and try to deliver a pizza to his house.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
You would just order a pizza and then try to bring it to him?
I worked for Pizza Hut, and I would deliver to that area. So anytime, like a couple times, I was in the hood, I would mistakenly go like knock on the door as if he had ordered it.
He was never there, though. He rarely
I
ever
think his
stayed
wife
there.
his
came-
ex-wife
Yeah.
was there all the
Yeah,
time.
She was there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was never there.
I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you guys didn't order pizza, my bad. I just
You
want
ever
to get
see
a
him?
glimpse of Tom Petty."
He saw him at the restaurant.
Yeah, at the restaurant, but I didn't see him.
You never
With the fake
got
pizza
to eat
delivery.
pizza with him? What if he would have answered the door and like invited you to eat pizza and smoke weed?
Well, yeah, I think
Tom
his,
Petty's pretty cool.
his drummer gave us 4 tickets, as in Ned. So Ned,
Yeah.
my mom, myself, and my friend Willie went to see them in Gainesville. One of the greatest shows I've ever seen. It's like a 3.5 hour.
Yeah, I
just,
remember we went to
they
that.
just kept playing these hits. Every song, like there's no way they'll top
He's kind of
this.
from Gainesville, isn't he?
Yeah, that's his hometown.
Yeah.
So phenomenal. He's amazing live.
Really?
I would highly recommend it. Yeah.
He's still touring, I'm sure.
Yeah, he's touring like right now.
These look like good mics, Peter.
It's not really.
I want to do.
This may be the first St. Augustine podcast.
Yeah. Well, Peter's doing it.
The narrative.
The narrative.
I'm doing something.
I wanna
Yeah,
do-
what are you doing,
If
Pete?
I have a little
Pete's the omniscient narrator.
splib, I want to call it the Main Street.
Yeah.
I want to have.
But you're not that middle of the road, man.
Huh? I'm nothing. I'm not political.
That's what you
That's
say. You
kinda
got some
how I say it.
opinions, man.
Everybody has an
I
opinion.
like using the term human organism because it
Yeah.
actually puts things in perspective.
Okay.
We are.
Human
Are we
organism.
not? Human organism is more accurate than
You're not political until somebody brings up Alex Jones, man.
No,
Comes
he's a
right
colorful guy. He's a showman.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're actually fairly reasonable to talk to,
Yeah.
for sure. Some people just want to crush somebody else in an argument, and that's
Well, I love those
Fucking
arguments
annoying.
where people think they each have, there's such strong opinions. Like,
yeah.
oh, now I see your point.
As if that's going to change.
Yeah.
it.
That never happened.
They're gonna
Yeah, I know.
More.
Oh, now I understand.
Right.
You hate these people because.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah. What was I thinking?
I've been wrong my whole life.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that Facebook post totally changed my mind.
Yeah.
That one meme, man,
Yeah.
just got me.
The media has to be benefiting over all this, though, both sides. It's like the greatest saga. It's like mostly real life. I mean, how much money is made on advertising?
Well, that's another show.
Mike Judge.
It's the
writer-
reality show of life now. It's life's
It's
reality
insane.
show.
Absolutely.
Judge,
It's a reality
writer-
show.
And are the
ridiculous.
politicians in on it, perhaps?
Well, they're participating because they're
But they're
part of the
glamorous,
team.
they're rock stars.
Yeah, they are the rock stars of the news. They're the celebrities of that news world, and all that is an entertainment show.
Well, social networking has transformed actual life into a fucking
Well, they
reality
just
show.
succeeded in making this whole Russian thing. They spin it right over to Obama. Oh, see what Obama did? He didn't do anything. He knew all about it. You know what I
Well,
mean?
come on, they made up the entire Russian narrative from the start, so I think that's the least
No, the
of their
Russian
problems.
thing's true, but it's always been true. They've been doing it. They do it all over Europe.
Right, I feel
I
like,
mean,
of course
and
they
they don't have to do much. They just have to. What a cheap,
what did they
what
do?
a cheap way to operate.
What did they do, though?
They just hack and they're doing it.
I'll tell you what they did.
What?
Somebody, maybe Seth Rich, who was murdered, by the way,
Yeah.
and no money was stolen, so it wasn't a robbery, hand over 40,000 emails to WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks.
Okay? There's, to my knowledge, that's what destroyed Hillary's chances. It wasn't Russia meddling. It was one hard drive,
No, she was a bad candidate
one
too.
thumb drive handed over,
Yeah.
and that was it. So say whoever leaked it, it was good. It was the truth prevailed, in my opinion. I'm glad it happened. Whoever did it.
But that's just one little episode of what they do. They'll
But
do anything.
that's what this entire Russian narrative hinges on. It hinges on Trump a year ago going, in Russia, if you're watching, see if you can find those 33,000 emails that Hillary hit. Like, that's it. And they're like, oh, he's in with the Russians. It's all a bunch
Well,
of
I don't
shit.
know who thinks he's in with the Russians.
Who thinks he's in with the Russians?
Yeah.
That's been the entire narrative for 4 or 5 months, isn't it?
Of the left, you're saying?
Absolutely.
That's been how
The whole collusion thing that Comey just
Do
blew out of the water.
Do people in the real world believe that, though? I mean, is that just
No.
not a narrative
Well,
on the news?
I think he does a lot of business with the Russians, and I think some
Sure.
of his people around him, and I think some of the people around him, inappropriately, just like the emails, kind of made contacts. But that's not that outrageous to me. But as far as them doing their like operatives and screwing around everybody's election, including Europe's.
From what you've told me, though, Russia has a reason to get Hillary the fuck out of there.
Well, they have more of an attitude against Hillary.
Right.
Because she was disruptive in their election. I mean, just because the guy's a dictator and he whacks all his opponents. I mean,
It's curious if those emails of hers have never been released. The DNC and John Podesta, all that
Yeah.
stuff. The weird collusion was happening to kick out the only grassroots candidate
but
who
when,
actually had
when
the support
has that not happened?
Bernie Sanders. I don't fucking know. But it was exposed
What do
this
you
time.
think? She invented it?
I think she... No, of course she didn't invent it.
Huh?
But my point is it was exposed.
Nothing's dirtier than the pre-election.
But
in
this
all
was right
parties.
in front of our faces. You
That
could
makes
read
sense.
those emails.
Well,
They were
that's-
not disputed.
Mhm.
You know? So this was different because it was like, holy shit, somebody hacked it. And this is actually... It's not just a myth or a rumor. It's like, this actually happened.
So what?
Yeah, I guess so.
It's just like Trump
Who gives a
actually
shit?
saying the pussy grabbing thing. That actually happened, and people just went,
So
Right.
you know.
And
Yeah, that happened.
I don't condone talking that way because it's just
Locker room talk, man.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. When you're with your guy friends, that's guy and women talk
I
the
don't know.
same about
I've been
guys.
with guy friends my
his
whole
dick
life.
was so little. They say the
I never
same
talk
shit.
about that shit.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
No, I'm
You've
saying
never
that
had a
you-
guy conversation like that.
I've had tons of shitty conversations like that.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, you speak
I
with
think a
little,
lot of
first
people
all,
have.
I'm not
you're
proud of
from
that,
another
but it's
generation
true.
that isn't as vulgar.
I don't want to.
You're a saint then, Ned. You're up there with
I'm
Mother
definitely
Teresa.
not a saint.
You're up there with Mother Teresa,
Yeah.
man.
Monster.
I'm definitely not a saint. But I wasn't a kiss and teller. You know what I mean?
I just don't know anybody who hasn't had a graphic,
yeah,
what
maybe
might be considered
in
growth-
8th grade.
Well,
You
But
know?
here's the deal.
But that's my point. Actually,
You
is
know,
that-
Trump reminds me of 8th grade.
how
Actually,
so?
reminds me of this guy I grew up with named Danny Rum. Trump reminds me of Danny Rum.
Why? What was
He just
Danny
does.
Rum's
It's
deal?
just his antics.
The
He's
grab her
like-
by the pussy remark wasn't even that big of a deal. The big deal was like when he goes, "She was married. I moved on her like a bitch." Like that was actually fucked up.
I didn't even hear that part.
Yeah, that was the first. The other part is like they'll let you. They'll let you do anything you want when you're a celebrity. You can even grab him by the pussy. He's implying consent, but it's really the part where he's talking about moving
Yeah.
on a married girl like a bitch, whatever the fuck.
You
that
better
means.
watch out. You're going to be
Coercive
on
sexual
trial
assault.
like Bill Cosby. I've been given that by Quaaludes.
and then quoting,
Who
and then
will
he
be?
does his big out.
Bill Cosby.
Isn't
Bad Albert
Bill
Club.
Cosby now talking to school children about how not to like rape people?
Well, I'm sure
Isn't
that's
that
not
part
the,
of his? No, it's
that's
probably
not
part
the
of his.
curriculum. But yeah.
I don't want to believe
No,
it
that
about
is-
Bill
he is-
Cosby. He was such a wholesome cat.
What happened to all the wholesome fathers? Bill Cosby, the seventh heaven dad.
America's dad?
Bill Cosby, and
He's still
and,
America's dad to me.
well, to
Al
a lot of
Bundy.
people, he's
Al
not.
Bundy is truly America's father.
Who's
Al Bundy.
Married
Out
with
of all the
children. Married with fucking
TV
children.
fathers,
Oh,
he
I like
wasn't
that
the
guy.
one caught up in scandal.
Right?
Isn't he in Modern Family now?
Yeah, I think he is
I don't know.
actually.
Yeah.
I never
I'm
watched
pretty
Modern
sure he
Family.
is.
I don't watch TV that much.
I've
Oh, you're
just
missing
seen
so
it.
much.
I know. I
Yeah.
love Breaking Bad myself.
Yeah, that's
I
the
like
best
that.
show I've ever watched.
Great show. I was in Albuquerque and I posed in front of the house,
Yeah.
and the woman comes out. Her garage door opens, and she was like, I said, "Is this the Breaking Bad house?" She's like, "Absolutely not." I said, "My bad. The internet says it is,
Yeah.
but I'll leave." It was like 7:30 in the morning, and she sits there in her lawn chair just telling people to get the fuck off her lawn. Basically, it is.
So you were one of those guys who actually went by.
Oh, I went by. At least I didn't throw a pizza on the roof though, and apparently that's a thing
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be hell to live in that house.
because that happened.
Which house? Breaking Bad?
Yeah, Walt's house. I was in Albuquerque. I went there. Yeah.
Was that the best show you've ever seen, Dad? Or do you think The
No,
Wire is
it's a
better?
lot of good. The Wire is probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
The Sopranos.
The Sopranos is good. I like The Sopranos a lot. You know, I get hooked on anything.
Mm.
You know, Pecan Sandies. Yeah,
You mean the cookie?
yeah.
You're not talking
But I
about-
mean, these shows. I mean, I just watched El Chapo on Netflix.
How was that?
I thought it was great. It was good, you know. And then they had this. It's definitely got to have more seasons. But then right after that, they kind of lured me over to this other Mexican show. Similar theme, you know. But he's like he's really the good guy. I mean, they make him out to be like the greatest guy, and the Mexican government. He goes, "You just can't trust those motherfuckers. They're not like us, you know." And then the Americans are the real super evil guys. It's really good. I don't know what the name of the El Capo.
Wow.
It's in Spanish. We're out, locked up shops on 80 and everything is good. Okay.
I thought
thanks.
Knight Rider was coming in here.
Yeah.
So Herschel, you just got back into town. You're thinking about helping out with your dad's restaurant,
Yeah.
learning the ropes. Now, Ned had expressed to me concern that you wanted to make sure you knew how to. It's a conversation we had a long time ago. We talked about this. Know how to squeeze a profit out of a restaurant. I think that's super important.
Squeeze a living.
Squeeze a
Yeah, but-
living out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to hear, Ned, your philosophical approach to that. How one squeezes the profit out of anything.
You can't just like have have like a few sentences how to do it. It's just
Yeah.
it's a lifestyle. It's just it goes back generations.
How would it relate to the restaurant industry?
It works in any business.
I think
but-
in any craft,
yeah.
you can go.
Well, the big deal is you got to like pay everybody, pay all your bills, pay all your taxes, and still earn a living. And it's nothing but chores. The restaurants are tiers of chores and babysitting.
Is it just attention to detail and tireless work ethic?
Everybody got their own direction of where they're coming from. You know, I mean, I'm just small time. I see these restaurants opening. You know, the millions of dollars they spend, and the amount of money they get for plates and stuff.
PPA is.
So you wouldn't know how to express how to do it. You just do it, obviously.
You have to be with me and just do it.
With you,
It goes on all day.
Yeah.
Like I got woken up at 5 a.m. One of the coolers was down. You know what I mean? So what do? You start making the calls. You tell them to pull stuff out. I said pull it out, clean the coils. And then the guy finally came. In the middle of the day, I buy these little frozen packs. I mean, it's just like little things you do, tricks you learn. Shit's always breaking down.
Now, what's the first step with Herschel? Like, do you think Herschel's cousin there Chuck said that he should learn every station? Do you think that's sound advice?
Well, yeah, it's good advice. I can't imagine him doing it. He could do it. He knows how to do it.
What do you think, Hersch?
The time would be the issue,
Yeah.
just with how conflicted I am with everything I do.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly being a part of the business is integrated into my life no matter what I do. But
I remember working with the Gunsmarts when they opened up this. What's the name of that restaurant downtown? The big Colombian.
in Columbia.
Because I applied to be the kitchen manager when I got back from wherever the hell I was. It was when I took a year off after selling that little breakfast joint.
Mm-hmm.
Mulligan
No,
Street Depot.
Yeah. And I talked to Richard, who, the Gunsmart owned all the Colombians, and he said, he was like my age and stuff. He goes, I'll hire you in a minute, but I know you're going to go open your own joint. He was right. I opened Gypsy.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, shit.
do you have
Perfect.
sponsors for these things? Don't you?
Yeah, we got
Not
plenty of
yet.
sponsors, man.
Huh?
Yeah.
This little talk was sponsored by Ned Southside Kitchen.
Yep,
And
plug away.
2450 US 1 South, in between Crystals and the End Zone.
And the shit show with J-Bo.
Yeah.
Herschel, you got any?
No, I'm just fucking
He's
hang
just
out.
here.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
That's here.
Thank
it.
you for having me, Peter.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thank you,
Peter,
man.
Melfi.
Doing it,
Let's
yeah.
do this again. This is
Yeah,
awesome.
I enjoyed it.